I want the React video.
Let me tell you.
He was singing and dancing earlier.
I am so stoked with the parts and components and the pieces. You know, it really hasn't even been 2 years. We really got fired up in about January of 20, and the amount of parts that we have now is incredible. And these are production parts. It's insane, and it's all the stuff that we've tested. There's a lot of parts. I mean, obviously now we got wheels and tires and clutches and CVT covers, and I mean that part right there alone. This was an 8-month process just to build that component. And steering wheels. I mean, this stuff is beautiful. It's incredible. And hats off to everybody here at Speed that has kicked ass, especially the engineering team, fabricators, mechanics, all the guys who've done all this testing. It's gonna be a big week next week.
How does it make you feel?
It's just nice because, you know, you design something and you see a part and you make changes to it, and then it's like, all right, we're making production parts now, and we're not going to see them again until they're production, and that's the scary part. But I'm telling you, this stuff is awesome, incredible.
All right, how's it going, guys? Daniel Granger here, lead engineer with Speed UTV, filling in for Robbie tonight on episode 73. And that video you guys just saw was Robbie's reaction earlier this week to a bunch of parts we got in. And as you can tell, he was very excited. So, and that goes for all of us here. It's amazing seeing these parts come to fruition. And it's been a long road, but I'm sure that once you guys see the parts too, you'll be just as excited as us. So we'll get kicked off here. All right, the mic was on mute, so we can figure out how to design some parts, but obviously we still don't know how to run audio equipment. But I'll get started here on the slideshows for tonight and give you a little preview of what's to come. So this is some awesome fan art submitted to us, and I thought that was a pretty cool picture to open up with. So we're gonna make t-shirts, right? Yeah, t-shirts. Who wants a t-shirt? Leave a comment. Tail lights. These are pretty cool. We got 10 sets in of all this stuff, and they've got brake lights, running lights, and hazard indicating lights. We've got a bunch of sets of hubs, spindles, and brake caliper mounts. And we've been prepping these, and the really fun thing with these, like we've said, and is our design philosophy on as many parts as possible, is they're interchangeable throughout the car. So the same hub bearing carrier, and assembly can go on any corner of the car. So we've been able to prep and stage these all, and we'll go out there tonight and show you what the guys are doing, putting the cars together. But having interchangeability of parts really makes assembly, service, and spare parts inventory way simpler. Some other cool stuff we got in is some displays and other electronic buttons. So we'll go out there and got some nice rocker switches and USB plugins, as well as our push to start key system. And that was a little bonus we dropped on you guys a week or two ago, I think, in the show. And I'll show you those buttons up close, and they've got quite a nice feel and click to them. Speed tires, speed wheels. We got, I think, 6 stacks of 5 of these in, or something like that. So we're excited to get some rubber on the ground and put some more miles to them. Our last set has done phenomenally well. I think we put about 2,500 miles on all our testing on a single set of tires and wheels, and they've been holding up pretty decent and held up to a lot of abuse. Now these ones are really exciting because these are the kind of parts that you can't just dream up overnight. We went through several revisions and renditions of these CVT covers, and it's much more than just a cover. So it's got the structural ribbing inside, and that gives you your bearing supports that we've integrated into the CVT shafts that help stop the deflection and maintain your CVT alignment. Now, all the tuners and belt guys love that because it means that the CVTs are always going to be operating in their ideal tuning situations. So helps belt life and will help just tuning and performance be consistent. Now, on top of that, with the case being aluminum, it's actually just got a lot more strength all around to it. Now, that's been an issue on a lot of side-by-sides where you blow the belt and the belt rips through the cover, takes out oil lines, oil tanks, or something like that, and now you've got more than just the changing the belt headache on your hands. So the goal with this one is also to be a blown belt containment system. Now, we've actually have had very good luck with our belt life so far throughout all our testing, but should you push this to the mileage limit and heat limits and experience a blown belt, the goal with this system is that it contains that belt within itself, and then you're simply just doing a belt change and not fixing oil lines or plastics and dealing with all of that. And now the third aspect to that part's design is the airflow. So it's got two air inlets that are coming down from the inside of your number plates. They pass through the massive fans on the primary to the secondary CVT, and then they exits out the backside of the CVT. And where we've got the exit is actually right onto the header of the exhaust. Now, that header, our EGT numbers are, they get up there in 13, 14, 1500 degrees. So even though your air coming out of your CVT may be 200 plus degrees, it's still a lot cooler than 1300 degrees. So that's going to help manage our header temperature. Now, as you see on our header on the exhaust, we've got nice heavy wall, and it's got a lot of structure and thermal strength built into it, but having that little bit of extra cooling is just going to help keep everything happy. And then that exits the vehicle, similar spot to your engine exhaust, and everything stays happy. Now, ratchet shifters and four-wheel drive shifters.
No, it's picked up again. Maybe it's this one. You guys apologize for all of these audio things. Actually, I have no excuse. Scott, does it work over there?
All right, Mike. We weren't allowed to buy the 100-pack. So ratchet shifter and four-wheel drive shifter has been something we've talked about for a while, and it's going to be a really fun aspect to driving this car because it goes park, reverse, neutral, 1, 2, 3, and you can bang through the gears there, and it's going to be a bit of a lift off, no full throttle shifts yet, but it's going to give you that added driving feel that's fun and sporty. And the added benefit of when you're coming up to a super steep climb or something, you don't have to come to a complete stop to shift it into low and then go up it and then wait and shift it back. So the idea is that this is a shift on the fly, but it will take a little bit of driving skill to fine tune that balance. But at the same time, if you just want to put it in 2 from the start, you can take off from 0 and go and drive around all day long. So second gear or 2 is going to be very similar to the normal high range on most side-by-sides, and that's going to be your mostly everyday high-speed driving. And then 3 is really just a cruise gear that helps you drop the RPMs for when you're just cruising at a higher speed and easy terrain, gravel roads, things like that. And then our four-wheel drive shifter, we went back to a full mechanical manual system, and that's just because in our racing experience and from the past dealing with other brands and other manufacturers, we found we couldn't trust the electronic four-wheel drive engagement to be reliable. And it would say it's in four-wheel drive when it wasn't, and it would just try and push itself in there. So we wanted a mechanical system that gave you, the driver, feedback and let you know and feel confident in knowing what the vehicle's doing. So that's got 3 positions. It's got 2-wheel drive and then 4-wheel drive with the front diff open. And now that's the setting that Robbie recommends everybody driving around in most of the time. It gives a really fun, sporty balance for all-wheel drive, and you're not binding up, and you're helping all the power go to all 4 wheels with the front switching back and forth. But so you're not just spinning and blowing off the back tires all day long. And then when you get to the really gnarly stuff, you can push it all the way forwards, and that engages the front locker, and then you're locked full-time 4-wheel drive right there. And that's for getting up the gnarly rocks and doing some crawling, and for when it gets really tough. But again, with that system, we've got the dogs on the clutches, and we've got the dogs and the clutch pack. So the goal there is also to allow you to shift back and forth without coming to a complete stop. So we've worked with some great partners in the drivetrain industry to help us on our dog design and the shift mechanism. And so we're really excited about that aspect of the design as well. Now we've got some more headlights. The front headlights, I think Robbie posted a video of these a little while ago, and the light up S emblem on the front. And I know we've got a lot of people asking already. They want to put that S on their, what do you want? You want to put it on your, he's putting on his Volkswagen. Robbie said no on Volkswagen. But trophy truck's getting one. We're gonna put those on everything we get. So I'm sure that's gonna be a hot single seller item as well. So look for that in the future. But these headlights are really cool, and even just the surround system is actually quite bright. So the daytime running lights, which is the light up strip all the way around the edges, actually has a decent amount of light output. And then the other cool thing that with it being an off-road vehicle, we're not restricted to the same headlight regulations as road cars are. And so if you have a Chevy pickup, you'll know what I'm talking about, where you have your low beams on and then you turn your high beams on, which is a completely separate bulb. It turns the low beam off. And that, I believe, is some regulation where you can't have more than 4 on at the same time if you've also got fog lights. So we've got a bit of like an all headlight on mod, which means when you turn on high beams, every light that you have on the front of the car is going to be on, because we know you want the maximum light output possible when you're driving in the dark conditions and you've got no one else around in front of you. Now, these are our race car chassis that we showed you last week. We're ready for some assembly, and we'll go out and take a look and see how they're doing putting them together. But these are also just an excellent test bed for our components. So even though the chassis were built by us here, they really helped iron out some of the manufacturing procedures and order of assembly in terms of chassis and fixturing. And then it's just going to be an excellent test bed for all things drivetrain and suspension related, because no vehicle gets driven harder than a race car. So these cars that we're putting together, they will be racing, but they'll also be testing all of our components and putting harder miles on than any consumer ever would, So we'll be able to identify any issues or long-term wear and durability and service intervals ahead of schedule on these test platforms. So we'll go take a look out there in a little while and show you all the components that are factory production components going directly onto these race cars. Now, on to next week. We're super excited for this coming up. Sand Sports Super Show. We'll be there. We'll be having a big presence. So our booths, 1034 OS, 1036 OS, and we'll have our merch trailer there. So over on the back side of the show, and I think we got some hospitality amenities available for pre-order customers. So come check in at the merch trailer and sign in with the girls there, and we'll get you guys taken care of. And we're super excited to show off all the hard work that has been going into this in the last little while, since 1.9 years, Rob says. I mean, really, it's crazy how much has come together in the last these last months and years and projects, and it's just been in a blur in some ways. Hard to keep track of times and counting days and months, but it's been exciting every step of the way. And so we're super excited to share that with you guys. So our schedule of events for that weekend, the show opens Friday, I think at about 4 p.m. And we'll be doing a little unveiling ceremony and presentation at 6 p.m. So that will be on live stream for everybody who can't make that. We'll be live streaming that, and that will be the show next week. So that's 6 p.m. Eastern time, 9 p.m. or sorry, I put Eastern in the slide, didn't I? Live stream 6 p.m. Western time, Pacific, and 9 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be showing you everything we got. And Robbie will be there. And then Saturday, we'll be at the show all week. Or weekend, the engineering staff, sales staff, come hang out, come ask us questions. Saturday, Robbie will not be there. He'll be down in Mexico racing the Baja 400. So he'll be helicoptering back and forth to make double duty appearances as best he can. And then Sunday, he'll be back there all day. And we're really excited to see you guys at the show. So that wraps up the slides for tonight. And let's go take a little walk through the shop and show you what the whole team here has been working on real hard. So yeah, let's come out this way. So we'll start just right down here on the ground with, I'm not going to show you guys everything. I'm going to leave some surprise, but here's one of our shifters. So really fun, good mechanical engagement. Nice size shifter ball. And then the four-wheel drive lever bolts right onto the side of that, and it's got its pivot. And so you got different shaped lever arms and tops, so hopefully you don't get them mixed up. But for those of you who were wondering, the shifter ball does thread on and off, and it's got a standard, well, I guess it's a metric thread, but if you want to do your own personalization, customization, you can put a different shifter ball on the top of that. Now, we got 5 of these in, but there's only 4 hanging out here because as soon as Robbie saw this, he stole one, and he's like, that's going in my trophy truck. So Robbie is, or Casey's working on making some little button adapters for it, but Robbie is so excited about this, and it's going in his trophy truck for this race. Now, we changed the profile of this to open up the window there so you can see the whole square dash. We can go over there and take a look at that in a minute. And then the other unique thing is the grip diameter is a little bit bigger, and that just helps with fatigue. If you're holding on to a tiny thin steering wheel, it's going to fatigue your fingers and your grip sooner. And then the other really cool thing that comes from Robbie's NASCAR days is most steering wheels will have an aluminum center and then a foam core covered in your covering, but we've actually got a metal core all the way around in the steering wheel to just help improve the strength and stiffness, especially in a crash situation or something like that. You're not going to be folding over the top of your steering wheel. Now let's keep going on around this way. Suspension parts, you guys have seen those. Sort of our headlights, so low beam, high beam, and our awesome trim ring around the outside. And that smile lights up. We lit this up the other day and blinded Casey and me in the face because we weren't expecting it to be that bright, but it's pretty sweet. Same with all our little Speed S's, their center emblems. And we're going to work on seeing what we can do to get these out as just individual items too, because they'll be a cool retrofit for pretty much anywhere. Here we've got our 10-inch display, and so we've got push buttons to scroll through the pages and menus, and so that mounts right up on the dash. And we mocked it up the other day, and Robbie's got great visibility, and he's really excited about that. So this is another one of our little bonus things that we worked for you guys. Push to start with a remote key fob. Now, similar to different jet skis, things like that, you get a different fob for your different tunes, as well as like a valet mode. So pretty excited, and it's got a nice little feel to it, and we're just trying to bring everything we do and put that quality in to the next level whenever we can. Same, we got headlight switches here, so that's what I was talking about. Is your off, running, high, low beam, high beam, and you just click through the switches: off, markers, high beam, low beam, high beam, and everything's got just a nice fit and feel. You know, all the way down to the fasteners. You can see we've got our sea of bolts here and hardware. We've got some pretty funky looking ones. This is our secondary CVT bolt. With bolt retention mechanism. We'll have some of these on display at the Sand Sports show to show you how they work, but it's crazy to think that how much, you know, engineering time and design hours goes into bolts and nuts. And we've got seas of bolts and nuts and hardware, and it's really cool showing what the interchangeable ones are. There's more over on the back side. I don't know if you can reach that far, Rob. But these bolts are the same ones on the spindle, the lower control arm outer pivots, and the inner pivots, so lower and upper. And then the tie rod is a different one, but that's the same as the shock. So there's actually really just a handful of critical bolts to keep track of. And the really cool thing is every bolt or every wrench and socket size is 19 millimeters or 3/4. With the exception of the trailing arm ones, because they're such a big shank, we had to go up on the nut size. But overall, we're trying to keep your tools and systems pretty minimal and interchangeable. There's another pretty gnarly bolt. That one goes between the motor and trans mounting, and it goes all the way through and sandwiches the two pieces together. So a lot of this is pretty cool stuff that, you know, is all custom one-off for us. So there's your lower control arm and upper control arm outer spherical bearings with the misalignments built into it. So on a lot of off-road stuff, you know, you buy a monoball, a spherical bearing, and you make your misalignments, machine it down. Because we're making so many, we can just design that from the get-go as one item, and saves on assembly time, saves on manufacturing costs overall when you get to that scale. You can come over here, Rob. We've got some more mounting and CVT covers. I'm going to show you this here. So as I was talking earlier, we've got the structural ribbing that goes between the covers and the primary and the secondary. These 4 bosses here are for an upgrade kit for those guys who are going to be just in the desert and ripping it wide open and want to get a little bit more airflow. You can put the same fan that comes on your radiator on these bosses with a little standoff, and you can open up between these windows like we do on some of our race cars to just get all the heat out of the case. And then the case halves open up. So you see you've got ribbing and ducting here to help direct the airflow as it comes in the primary, swirls around, and comes out the secondary. And then so these two here are where the bearings register on the CVTs. And so it's actually a loose fit into there because we're okay, unlike a normal bearing shaft situation, having a little bit of movement for it to press in so that your cover is easy to come on and off. Right here we've got our back plate, again, some air diversion here. This is accessible to your rear differential torque limiter. And over here we've got another air inlet channel and the structural ribbing. And then this is the outlet, and that exhausts it right above the header manifold for the turbo. And so these things latch together in 3 places. You got 1, 2, and 3. And so these are actually the same style big hood latches that you see on the Gordini and the trophy truck. So we can show these here, how quickly and easily it is going to be to unlatch your CVT cover. They're spring loaded just like that, and you should be out and good to go on getting in and out of your cover. Now, one thing to keep in mind, with it being aluminum, it's going to get warm just like the rest of the drivetrain. So you're going to want to wear gloves whenever you're working back there. Now, yeah, speed gloves. Let's take a walk through this way and check out the fab shop, see what these guys are up to. So we've got our suspension fixtures, which we've been building suspension kits here for years and years and years, and they keep evolving to be able to build whatever the latest thing is we're building. A bunch of SST arms. Fab shop's cruising her way. Shrek's been putting together some fabricated versions of our steering rack adapter for tie rods. I think we've got chassis number 5 on the fixture there. So we've got 5 more in boxes here, tubes wise, ready to go. Kenny's putting on some finishing touches to basically Nerf bar and body mounting fixturing for these race cars. So this one will be at the show in just a couple days. Coming through, notching tubes, notching bars. Max's car is getting a little revamp still. So we've got all our bodies fit up, and the goal with these is to make them as interchangeable as possible. So Kenny and Kyle spend a lot of time really dialing in all their copes and body fits, and still working on it, but she's gonna be looking pretty good. You can see how they've got the tight copes around the tubes on the carbon. And carbon's a lot less forgiving to cut than the fiberglass bodies because you can't just patch it back in if you need to. So we've got 3 bodies ready to go for that. Another chassis sitting over here. And then let's go check out, then put on some hard parts over here. We gotta block this thing as we walk by because I know Rob wants to show you upskirt on the trophy truck, but that's just not gonna happen, Rob.
How protective Robbie is.
Yeah, so it's really crazy when you think about it that we're sharing you all this information about this design process, which I'm personally very excited about. But coming from the racing world, it's been a big shift in Robbie's mentality because he's, for good reason, very protective of his ideas and strategies to get that competitive advantage. He's been doing this for years, and eventually someone always tries to copy or evolve one of his designs, so he tries to keep it under wraps for as long as possible. But this UTV, we just invited you guys right in. So I'm going to still make sure Rob doesn't focus on that one as we shimmy on over to to this one, which we're totally okay with showing you everything about it. So this is similar to ones you've seen before on some of our tests, and it's very similar to the production cars, and for good reason, because we're taking everything we learn in racing and everything we wanted on a race car and are trying to put that directly into the production vehicle for you. So we're going to chat over here with Casey Jeffries, who's our lead mechanic and technician here, and really just brings years and years of racing experience to the team. So
Just hold it in your hand.
yeah, so Casey, you want to give us a little bit of a story and history on, you know, the development of technology through racing and how we're trying to bring that to the production market?
Yeah. Racing, you break down a lot. What you break down, you fix. And so anything we've tried on the Unicorn has definitely been implemented here. Even the stadium trucks, just everything we do is based on what we're doing with this car. Whether it's tubing size, tubing placement, bearings, you know, anything. So, yeah, it's critical. Hold the mic up to your mouth.
And
Put it in your shirt. You can relax.
so how does Robbie help bring that racing mentality into our design cycle here?
His car feel is unbelievable. He can tell something within probably 30 seconds. If he feels something doesn't feel right, he's on it pretty quick. That's the cool thing is what I've learned with working with him over 4.5 years is you trust him, because if he says it, it's real. And it's, you know, I've worked with guys where I don't think so, but he knows what he's talking about. And you can even try to sneak one on him. I have. It doesn't work out so well. So, you know, which is great. I mean, sometimes you got to try things to either succeed or fail, and then it's done. And so, I mean, we'll never try anything dangerous, but, you know, we'll try a different bar on a steering servo or whatever, and he can tell right away. And that's on this side of the wall, that helps a lot. Just knowing that, hey, Robbie, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And he can go back, I don't know how many years to history, and no, I tried that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that experience he brings also transfers into, you know, not just the vehicle setup and tuning, but just every aspect of design. You know, I've sat here for the past, you know, 2 years on this project with Robbie over my shoulder on every single part, and he's got feedback and very useful insight on every nut and bolt, every little tab and bracket. And it's amazing to see, you know, not just a driver, not just a builder, not just a racer. He's got very keen, very real world application experience with every aspect of vehicle design. And so we're doing our best to package all of that years of experience and years of racing and technology and bring it to you guys in a production vehicle to bring it to the masses.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. He's got good style too. He can foresee what the next trend is. What you know, and that's important. You know, whether it's a radius roof or it's a flat roof, he's got good taste, and that helps. You have to have that. You have to know what's next, not what's behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited. We're wrenching away. As you can see, all the guys in the shop are putting in the hours, getting these cars ready to come show you guys and share with you. We're really excited to see you at Sand Sports next week, and it's going to be a good show. So I think that about wraps it up for this one. Unless Rob's seen any good questions. All right, we'll walk back into the office
Give me the mic.
and give you one more glimpse of not the Unicorn.
I'll say this: probably my favorite thing, mainly mechanic-wise, is this shaft.
Yeah.
When he introduced that, it was so cool. Safety-wise, yes.
Is this guy tight on here? Yeah.
It's-
Okay.
But
We'll
if
go
you gotta
show him
do a
over there.
servo, you just slide that out. I've had cars where you're trapped and you got to undo a bunch of stuff to get something out. really like.
Yeah. So this comes from the NASCAR side of experience, where that's actually I believe a rule safety mandate to have a collapsible steering column, because you can imagine having a 2.5 foot long steel bar in front of the driver could pose some safety issues in a wreck. And so this helps if you were to fold the front end up, not pin you to the seat with that. But as Casey was saying, it makes it a little bit more convenient on the mechanic side.
I like the mechanic side of things, of A, reliability, and B, making it easy to work on. That's critical. I mean, Chris made a comment earlier. You know, he's putting all these bolts on, and it's like, it's nice not going back to the toolbox for 17 different size wrenches. It's, you know, and the metric stuff gets really goofy. Sometimes it's 16 millimeters, 17 millimeters. You don't know. This is all 3/4 or 19. It's so much of it, and that's what's being built, is many people's input into one concept.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Talk about the quality of the parts you're seeing coming in.
The quality of parts are beyond my expectations, honestly. I've worked on other manufacturer stuff, and this stuff is beautiful, and I know it's first run. It's been really, really nice. I mean, including this. I just put that in, and I didn't have to do anything. I put grease on it and put it in.
Yeah.
It's been really great.
And all of these service items and you know, serviceability, we're trying to put into this because, and we're able to, because we've got such a close connect between the mechanics and the fabricators who are working and putting things together, and us in the engineering room drawing it up in the computer. And when the factory wants to make changes in terms of, you know, making it easier to manufacture, we have good concrete examples and reasons for, no, this is the way it's got to be, make it like this. And we're just hoping to bring that all to you guys and help you get the best car possible. Right on. So next week, Sand Sports Super Show, Speed UTV. Be there, and we got something special to show you.
All right, I got the mic now. One thing I'll say is Robbie's raced the equivalent of at least twice around the circumference of this earth. He's done everything he said he would do. He's overambitious, and I know for sure when he's laying on his deathbed, he's not going to be wondering if there was anything else he could have done. With that being said, we're going to wrap the show up. Say good night, Daniel.
Right on. Good night, and thanks for bearing with us through a few audio incidents, but we'll be excited to see you guys next week, and stay tuned till then.